The Raspberry Pi 4 released summer last year, and it was a beast of a single board computer. Had a more powerful processor. They gave us a choice of RAM, 1, 2, or 4 gigabytes. Definitely recommend going 4 gigs. USB-C power supply. They had 2 micro HDMI ports supporting up to 2 4K displays. A lot of interesting specs here to go over. And we've covered all this in previous videos around launch of the device. And I really haven't gotten much use out of my Pi 4 because it left us wanting. We wanted RetroPie, an official RetroPie release for the Pi 4, and we weren't sure when we were going to get that. So other teams out there, like the Supreme team, they put together unofficial, packages of RetroPie so we can emulate. That's what a lot of us want to do with this, is emulate games. Now, the cool thing is that just today, the RetroPie team has released a brand new version, 4.6, that now has Raspberry Pi 4 support. A lot of information here. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can check this out, download it, do all that good stuff. This got me amped up a bit. I've been really enjoying the images out there from, the Supreme team, people building off of that. But with an official release of RetroPie for the Pi 4, that's got me even more excited because now there's going to be more people involved, more people adding to this, more people figuring things out. I started my channel as a RetroPie emulation channel. We did a lot of emulation. We still do, but kind of, spread out from that a little bit. And this definitely has me excited. So you can download it here. A lot of interesting information. They do have a little supported platforms page that you can click on to see what emulators are supported for different devices and whatnot. A lot of interesting information here. All the libretro cores. There's just tons of information here. So this really brings it out to more people to start messing with this. And that's why I'm really excited. So I'm going to show you quickly how to install this on a micro SD card. That way you can get started, right? Pretty simple stuff. Not a lot has changed with, getting started. So definitely we'll get that going. We'll do some more videos in the very near future. Like, man, maybe I should start making, my own images again for the Pi 4. It's been since the Pi 3B Plus since I've done anything like that. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and download this and get it installed. So they do have some changes listed here. Raspberry Pi 4 support. Support is labeled as beta though, as there's still things that need to improve, but most emulators run well. That's what they're saying. So that is cool. These RetroPie images are now based on Raspbian Buster. Stretch is no longer supported by the Raspberry Pi Trading Limited. So like the Raspberry Pi Foundation, whatever. So RetroPie will stop updating pre-built binaries for Stretch later this year. So it's all going to be Raspbian Buster. Improvements to the RetroPie packaging system and core RetroPie setup code so package state is remembered. And binary updates will only be done if an updated binary is available. That's good. That way nothing gets screwed up. So that's definitely a nice change there. RetroArch updated to version 1.8.5 with all these, additions. Support for real CD-ROM with the ability to dump the image, the disk image. That's something neat. We've had access to that, via other means, but that would definitely be cool. Set up RetroPie. I know a CD was going to do that. Have like a Pi type thing set up and a disk drive. You could load your games, play your games. Like, it's not something unheard of, but it's still pretty neat thing that you can do there. Emulation Station updated to version 2.9.1. Scraper fixes for the game's database. That is good. We always had issues with the scraper. I just stopped using it altogether. I would just get my own packages of images and get them on there. So that's cool that there's scraper fixes. Grid view improvement, bug fixes, theming improvements, new options for disable system name on custom collections. Okay. And so bunch of other updates here. If you guys want to take a look at that, like I said, link will be in the description. So in order to download 4.6, you're going to go ahead and go here. I'll put a link directly to the download page. That way you're not searching for it. You will pick which system are you downloading 4.6 for. We're doing Raspberry Pi 4. So I've already downloaded this. I have it right on my desktop right here. It came in it was compressed, 806 megabytes compressed. I did use, 7-zip to extract it. Now let's see what is the size, just so you guys know what you need there. Total size, 2.67 gigabytes, 1.24 on disk. So there is that. Here is the actual image. That's what we need. So once you extract this compressed file, you will get the actual image. So now what you need to do is have a micro SD card ready. Use WinDisk Imager. We're going to go ahead and open that up. Now my device, this is important. This is hugely important here if you're writing a RetroPie image to an SD card. You want to make sure you have the proper device selected. So I know my micro SD card is drive F. Now if I accidentally select L, I'm not even sure what that is right now. If I select that, I'm going to completely destroy what is on that drive. So I'm not going to mess with that. I'm making sure, double checking, drive F. That's the one I want to use. Now we're going to select our image file. So we're going to select the little folder icon there. Go to where we had put the RetroPie Buster 4.6 image. It's in this folder. Go ahead and select that. It is there. Double check your device, and then go ahead and hit write. And it's just going to tell you, like, dude, you're gonna mess some stuff up. Like if this is a device that you don't want to write this to. So double check. I can't stress that enough. Double check that you're writing to the correct device. Yes. So now this will take a very short moment. As you see here, it shouldn't take no more than a minute. It's a very small image because it's just a base image to build off of. If you have a faster micro SD card, the read and write speed, it will go quicker. If you have like a really old, slow micro SD card, it could take a little longer. So it's just going to depend. I'll put what I'm using in the description so you could take a look at that. But let's go ahead and get this written and then boot it up. So here we go. First boot up of RetroPie 4.6. It did resize the file system automatically. It did that as soon as I booted it up. So that was nice. Let's go ahead and wait for this to fully get in there. Okay, we are in it. I just have my PlayStation Classic controller plugged in right now. Normally I'll use a Xbox 360 pad or an 8-bit pad, but just for the heck of it, this is what I'm using. So let's go ahead and do our button configuration. So the second, this boots up, it's gonna prompt you to do your config. So there we go. We don't have anything for the analogs on this controller, but you would define them just the way it prompts you. If you don't have a specific button, then you just hold down any button to skip, as it says up there. And then hotkey enable, select is typically what I go for. And we are in it. So that is it. We have nothing on here at the moment, obviously, because we haven't built anything on here. But these are the options that will be shown. So I will do a more in-depth video showing how to set up an image, add your games, all that good stuff. We will be diving deep, but just real quick, the options that we have on a base install, you can configure audio options. If you're setting up like a bar top or an arcade and you have speakers, you could configure it to using the 3.5 millimeter jack, HDMI, all that good stuff. Bluetooth, register and connect Bluetooth devices. Configuration editor, this comes in handy for RetroArch configs, global configs. I use that quite a bit. ES themes, if you are online, either wired or through Wi-Fi, you can download, update Emulation Station theme packages, grab those, all that good stuff to customize your build. File Manager, I use File Manager quite a bit when I'm working on an image, but if you're just playing an image, you don't really need to mess with that. But we will dive into that a little more in the future. Raspy config. So here is something of importance. You can overclock, enable SSH, all that good stuff. Don't mess with it unless you know what you're doing. But another thing we will dive into. RetroArch, you can launch the user interface to go through the options there. It does say note, changes will not be saved unless you have enabled save configuration on exit. I've had to stress that plenty of times in the years past, but it tells you right there. Make sure configuration, save config on exit is checkmarked if you're messing with RetroArch settings that you want to keep. NetPlay, RetroPie setup. So RetroPie setup is where you'll install different packages. So we'll go into that now. So in RetroPie setup, this is where you would update RetroPie. If, say, for example, tomorrow 4.6.1 comes out, you can update from here. You can also manage packages. So this is something that is pretty handy if you need to update things specifically or install new things. So like core, for example, is just going to be the core packages, RetroArch Emulation Station, RetroPie menu, and the run command. So those are all installed. You can update, remove, whatever you need to do from here. Now, main packages is going to be a bunch of our emulators, all the main stuff, a bunch of LibRetro core emulators here. So these are all installed via binary, but this is where you would update or install other ones that are not installed. Or if you want to remove something specifically, you can do that from here as well. And then we also have the optional packages, which are going to be a bunch more emulators. So here they are. You have like Amaberry, Advanced MAME, I believe Raycast, Stella, Scum. You got a bunch of options here. None of these are installed already. If you want to add these, you're going to have to install them yourself. So there is that. Driver packages, bunch of options here as well. Experimental packages. Sometimes there's interesting stuff here. You have Drastic, the DS emulator. Redream is on here as well. And then dependency packages. As you see, these are all installed. If you need to update them, this is where you would go. So let's go ahead and exit out of here. There's still other stuff we can do within this, but like I said, in later videos, we'll dive more deep. So that was RetroPie setup. You also have run command configuration. Change what appears on the run command screen. Enable or disable the menu. Disable box art. Change CPU configuration. If you need your IP address and you're connected via Wi-Fi or you're wired up, you can get your IP address from here. That way you can like FTP in, add your games, all that stuff. Splash screens, enable or disable, download new splash screens. This is just the screen that comes up when you first boot up. And then Wi-Fi to connect or disconnect from Wi-Fi. Just, it's self-explanatory, right? So that was the overview and installation of RetroPie 4.6. We will be doing more videos, building an image, getting you guys ready to go so you can see how easy this is to get, ready and going. It can be a time-consuming project, getting all the artwork, getting things customized the way you want. When I build a RetroPie image, I like to test the games. A lot of people just throw a bunch of games, especially MAME and Final Burn Alpha games and certain things like that, and not test them. Like a lot of people think, more is better, but if you have a shit ton of games and half of them don't run or they're not configured properly, then it is what it is. That's the thing with downloading pre-made images. If you build your own, you could test things and whatnot. So when I when I build my own, I like to test everything, get everything set up, do that kind of good stuff. So hey, really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Really do appreciate it. We will continue this series. And with that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom. Bye.